All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is May 27, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Hey, let's go take a look at some charts today. All right, so we got the 10-minute on the SPY. What do we got? We've got a 10-minute cross coming into the close. The target was 592.59. Didn't quite make it there. We got close. Looking like they're probably going to hit it in the aftermarket. They pinned it right here at, I'm just going to say 590.45 almost for the last 3-4 hours. You can see from 12 o'clock until 4. We haven't moved much at all, all right? Getting a little bullish engulfing candle at the last minute here. So we'll see what happens with that. On the 2-hour chart, we were in a 2-hour downtrend as of this morning. Okay, we had that 2-hour downtrend. Then we had a crossover with a gap up. So we had a bullish gap up, and the bears did not fill the gap. All right, I don't even think they tried. Price action, you can see we're back into our 2-hour uptrend. Again, we're going to look for that 10-minute uptrends inside those 2-hour uptrends, inside those daily uptrends. Okay, those are the ones we want to trade. So today we had a nice 10-minute uptrend that was traded almost throughout the whole day. You can see here's a 10-minute uptrend up over VWAP the whole day. Nice trade the whole day. No need for puts. No place to really short here. Everything was bullish the whole day. Even made a higher high than yesterday, and obviously a little higher high than right here. Not quite a higher high than the day before. Yeah, actually we made another higher high than the day before. So let's take a look at this on the daily chart, and you can see we got a higher low, higher high, coming right into this downtrend line. Closing over a bullish cross over the 17 EMA, up there in quadrant 4. You can see right here we're up in quadrant 4. Price action, let's take this out of the way. Take this out of the way. And you can see we're up here in quadrant 4. That is bullish up there, quadrant 4. Still in an uptrend, higher low, higher high. So that's a bullish. Up there in quadrant 4, higher low, higher high, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP in the upper third, up in quadrant 4, it's bullish, over the midpoint, everything looking good for SPY, all right? It's going to take us a while. I said this is going to, we spent 3 months consolidating right here. We're not going to zip through it in 4 hours. It's going to take us a couple weeks to get through this. All of this consolidation up here that happened basically from, you can see, November to December, there's 1 month, to January, 2 months, to February, 3 months, and almost to March, that's 4 months. Okay, so 4 months of consolidation. It's going to take us a couple weeks at least to kind of zip through this stuff, all right? It's going to take us a little while. So little ups, little downs, little ups, little downs, all right? So we'll see what happens. So there's SPY on the daily chart. Again, bullish, daily in an uptrend. Let's take a look at, and for the trade for today, again, 10-minute uptrend. You got green erases red right there, and you stayed in that 10-minute uptrend all the way, well, basically until the end of the day, right up there, all the way up over VWAP. So nice work for the bulls today. Held that bullish gap open. Bears couldn't even fill it. So that's nice work on the bulls' part. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, here's QQQ, another 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Again, green erases red. There's your entry right there. And you hang on that till, to the end of the day or until the 3 crosses under the 8 right there. So there's price action QQQ. On the daily chart, what do we got? Same thing as SPY. I think they're all going to have the same thing. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross, over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the uptrend line. Still looking good there on QQQ. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, again, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish cross, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, up here in quadrant in the upper third, that's bullish, over the uptrend line, over the downtrend line, everything looking good on Diamond Dow, that's bullish, and in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow, IWM. Let's take a look at IWM, and we've got higher lows, higher highs, so there's an uptrend. Price action, higher low, higher high, just like the rest of them. Price action got a up over the bullish cross, over the rising 17, over the uptrend line, caught underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP and the midpoint. So back here to challenge the midpoint again here today. Okay, so there's IWM. That's neutral. It's not in the lower third. It's not in the upper third. So it's neutral through here. Not quite bullish yet. We are in an uptrend, kind of a weak uptrend. Not much gusto going on there. Not much spinach. Not much mustard on that one. Okay, so IWM just neutral, but it's in an uptrend, just like the others. Okay, let's take a look at FNGB. FNGB got same thing, higher low, higher high, closing over not a bullish cross, but a bullish trap, closing over the 17, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing over the uptrend line. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish, kind of indicating NVIDIA is probably going to have some pretty good earnings. All right, just saying, looking pretty good. When FNGB does this well, you can probably bet NVIDIA is probably going to have some good earnings. Nice rally this week as we come back off of a three-day weekend. All right, so nice rally there. FNGB on the daily chart in an uptrend, making higher lows, higher highs in the upper third. That's bullish over the all-time high anchored VWAP and over the uptrend line. Nice work. Take a look at some technicals. All right, look at this. We came out of the midpoint, straight into the overbought zone, camped out there, drank all the Bears wine, ate all the Bears Oreos, had a grand old time up here in the overbought zone, just camped out there all day since we arrived this morning. So there's overbought on T21.22. T21.23, another bullish gap, didn't get filled by the Bears. Nice work there. Okay. A little bearish gap got filled by the bulls. All right. Green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Nice strong day up over the rising 200 SMA. That's bullish. Making higher lows. Now attacking the prior high. Looking to make another higher high. Looking good. T21.23 15-minute chart. Up over the downtrend line. Up over the 200 SMA. Again, holding the higher ground. Looking great up there. If you look at price action, moves up and is moving to the right. All right, over here, little rest, not pulling back like that. That's a bullish outlook. That's a bullish environment. T21.23. 3-bar chart, same deal. Moving up, 3-bar charts in an uptrend. Okay, because there's a high. We made a higher high. Again, we got price action up over this 17 EMA right there. Okay, that's looking good. 3 more green candle bars put in. Up over this fading 200, that's a red line. Up over the downtrend line. You can see here's our downtrend line. We kind of scoot this in here, scoot this out there. Okay, so we're up over that downtrend line. On the 3-bar chart, looking good. All right, in order for SPY to negate the daily downtrend, they got to take out this high over here. So they're going to have to get past these prior all-time highs, all right, and get over this hump right there in order to negate the downtrend. Right now, on the daily chart, they're in a downtrend. On the 3-bar chart, that's an uptrend. All right, so 3-bar chart has uptrend. Daily chart still in a downtrend. 15-minute chart in an uptrend. T21.23. FNGB right here. FNGB. Again, look at this. Price action, bullish gap up, and we're holding the higher ground, still holding that bullish gap open since the 12th of May. Where are we now? It's like the 27th of May. So this is nice work on the bulls part, hanging on to that higher ground, fighting for it, grabbing every inch, every yard right up there. Okay, price action again today, bullish gap up. Okay, bears didn't fill the gap. Nice work on there. Here we got a bearish gap, and it looks like the bulls got that filled. Kind of gap the gap, if you ask me. There's a little bit of space where we did gap the gap. Anyways, over the 200 SMA. Nice work there. Nice recovery. Price action up over the rising 17 EMA, up over VWAP right there. Again, attacking those highs. Getting a little breakout here. Possible consolidation over prior consolidation coming in here. Okay, so you can see starting to move to the right. Maybe we get consolidation up here over prior consolidations. Try it again. All right, that's looking good. This would be prior consolidation. This is current consolidation. All right, so there's FNGB on the 15 looking good. All right, that's bullish. All right, no doubt about it. We have a bullish environment. Okay, you saw SPY, you saw QQQ, you see FNGB. This is bullish. Okay, you saw QQQ earlier. Let's take a peek at that one more time. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. All right, you see QQQ holding that higher ground. That's bullish. Look at it on the scratch, on the daily. Okay, again, you can see QQQ up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. No, I don't want to do that. How do I get out of that? I don't want that. Oh, gosh. All right, hold on. All right, solve that problem. Okay, so there's QQQ up there. That's bullish. All right, you got SPY up there, quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, we got FNGB. Okay, up here. That's bullish in the upper third up there. Okay, that's bullish. Okay, you got 15 minute. You got T2122 in the overbought zone. Definitely bullish. T2123 15-minute chart. You can see up over the 200 SMA, up over the downtrend line. That's bullish. 3-bar chart over the downtrend line, over the 200 SMA, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. The only one that's not bullish is the daily chart right there. Okay, let's go back. Let's take a look at a few sectors. We'll start off with XLE. It's our energy sector. Price action, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. Still in the lower third. That's bearish. It's in an uptrend because it's making higher lows and higher highs, but still in the lower third, so that's still bearish. Still underneath this, call it a 12-month high anchored VWAP, still underneath that, underneath downtrend line 1 and downtrend line 2. All right, so this is bearish, but in an uptrend, trying to fight it off. All right, let's take a look at USO right here. Still no higher highs yet out of USO, so that's stuck in a downtrend. In the lower third, that's bearish, just like XLE. Underneath this 3-year high anchored VWAP, that's the pink line right there. That's bearish as well. All right, underneath the midpoint, also bearish. Still in a downtrend, also bearish. So USO, still bearish, not helping out the XLE at all. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG got the low is 1663. The low is 1662. Okay, so they got an outside day. Higher high, lower low. Closing over this, all right, 12-month high anchored VWAP. Not a very high bar set there. Okay, over the 12-month high anchored VWAP. Up over this bearish trap, but underneath the 17 and still underneath the downtrend line. Barely making it out of the bearish lower third. So you got price action there. UNG right there. Just neutral, still in a downtrend. All right, because it hasn't made a higher high yet. So just neutral, still in a downtrend. That's UNG. Let's take a look at precious metals. Here's gold all the way up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. That's a big sloppy bull flag. It's bullish. Going through the consolidation pattern. Price action different because it's got a lower high and a lower low closing over the bullish, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing inside the bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend, still in a downtrend because it made a lower high and a lower low. So, but still up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Let's take a look at SLV. SLV up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. There's a high. It made a higher high, so that's an uptrend. So we're bullish. And in an uptrend up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Up over this 6-month high anchored VWAP also doubles as a 12-year high anchored VWAP. Price action for silver bullish and in an uptrend up there in quadrant 4. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH got a higher low, higher high, closing over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time pink line. That's the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the downtrend line. Not quite in the upper third, not quite. It's darn close, knocking on the door. All right, not quite in the upper third, looking good though. SMH neutral in an uptrend right there, knocking on the door to get into the bullish zone. Take a look at XLK. Price action, higher low. No, wait. Higher low, higher high. Closing over a bullish cross. Over the 17 EMA. Over the uptrend line. That's this gold line right here. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right through here. Okay, up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, and higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend, so that's looking good. Let's take a look at XLF. Wow, look at X. Anybody in X? That shows a good economy when X takes off like that. If Alcoa is doing the same thing, you know we got a strong economy going on. All right, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap. Okay, over a bullish cross, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, you go down, you give it up, that's neutral. You go down, you give it up and more, that's bullish up there. Okay, you give it up and more, that's bullish up there in quadrant 4. Okay, over that all-time high anchored VWAP, quadrant 4, uptrend, financials. Take a look at IYT. Transports. Higher low, higher high, closing over bearish trap, closing over the 17 EMA, closing under all-time high anchored VWAP, closing over the uptrend line, closing over the midpoint. Still neutral for IYT. Not in the upper third, not in the lower third, so just neutral through here. Okay, you go down, you give it up, you're neutral. You go up, you give it up, you're neutral. Okay, so they're neutral right there, IYT. All right, that's it for me for today, unless I see some questions in there. Oh, I got some other stuff. I guess I missed this. Yes, I'm keeping my puts overnight. I think there's a possibility mine expired tomorrow. I might get burned with them on my puts. All right, unless I can find a way to get out, unless I can find a small downtrend to play sometime tomorrow to weasel out of them. They got 1 day left. That means they expire tomorrow. You can see I'm upside down like 60K. For day today, all right, actually made 6K today, all right? Made on mostly all calls. See the calls? Everything was made on calls. And that was simply just buying that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Made various plays on calls. All right, so everything was made with calls right here. All right, so that's what I had to trade with today. So made 6K. Lost on these puts. All right, I got burned for 3,800. Looks like I'm upside down some more right here, right now too. So we'll see what happens. Maybe tomorrow I can find a short little downtrend, kind of double down, triple down on that and get out of it. Hopefully a break even. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's those puts. Eric, 3 minutes is starting to wiggle. Yes, 3 minute was starting to wiggle on SPY. Starting to move up a little bit. Let's take a look at it with the pre-market on the 3 minute. Let's take a clean chart. Yeah, see, we had our target up here, Eric, 592.59. You can see they're going to go hit it in the after hours. They couldn't do it while we had, while we were loaded up with calls in the regular market. Don't know why, but they're evil like that sometimes, where they just pin it to this number and they go get it in the aftermarket. So it's looking like they're going to go chase down this prior high right here, breakdown candle high, probably in the aftermarket or on the overnight session at least, probably for price action for that. So look for price to go up to 592.59 in the post market or in the overnight session. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be interesting. We got a big thing coming out tomorrow. First, we got FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. All right, which I don't expect is going to be much on the FOMC minutes. And I say this because he can't do anything till he figures out if we're going to have tariffs or not. I mean, we got the guy up there putting tariffs on, then he wants to delay them. We got China tariffs, and then we're going to delay them. Mr. Powell can't do anything. All right, there's not much he can do. I'll tell you what it is going to do, all these tariffs on, tariffs off. All right, there's going to be a lot of purchasing going on prior to the tariffs. Okay, and then with that purchasing, that's going to be wholesale purchases. Now, I don't know if the retailers are going to be smart enough to say, hey, let me get this now before the tariff is slapped on it. All right, so it's going to be a lot of purchasing, I think before the tariffs take hold. That's my speculation. I mean, if I was China and I was buying stuff from America, I definitely want to get it all before tariffs take effect. Same thing with America buying from China. If we're paying China tariffs, I think I'd want to buy all my stuff wholesale this year, go get a bridge loan, and stock it all up now before the tariffs take into effect. So I think that may cause a little bit of inflation in itself. We'll see. They're on, they're off, they're delayed. You don't know what's going on. Makes this job very hard. All right, it's already hard enough. All right, trying to make everything work when we got ourselves way too over in debt. All right. Anyways, that's FOMC minutes tomorrow at 2. Also, tomorrow after the close, we got NVIDIA earnings. Don't count on them to report till after 4:15. So we got NVIDIA earnings. And I got to tell you, FNGB was looking good right into the close today. So I think NVIDIA earnings will be pretty hot. Or pretty good. Pretty good. I don't think they will disappoint. All right. I don't know what the market's going to do with it, but I don't think we're going to disappoint. We'll see what happens. All right, so we got NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. We got FOMC minutes at 2. NVIDIA earnings at 4:15 tomorrow evening. What else do we got coming on? We got GDP. If that wasn't enough, we got GDP Thursday morning at 8:30. All right, so we got GDP 8:30. NVIDIA earnings, that's 3.2 trillion. And probably the number one AI graphics chip manufacturer for, of all time. So watch for that. I think there's going to be a whole lot of demand on NVIDIA. We'll see what happens. But anyways, GDP Thursday morning, NVIDIA 4:30 tomorrow evening, and then FOMC tomorrow afternoon at 2. All right, so we're going to have a busy day tomorrow. Probably be good just to get hedged and wait for all of this to wash over. All right, I think that would probably be a smart move. Just wait for all of this to wash over. Just think about it if it makes sense to you. And let's see what we got. Robert says, 1 daily goal today. Way to go, Robert. Stupidly got shaken out of a name on early morning flush. Duly noted trade in journal. Yep, way to go. Way to go, Robert. Well done. Like to see SPY. Mel wants to see SPY come down to 588. It may. We're in the middle of a consolidation. Okay, so it may come all the way back to 575. All right, she wants it to come to 588, which is, I guess she thinks it was going to have a VWAP pullback. And they fooled all of us with that. They didn't have that. All right, Mel says, made out with nice profits, 2 only SPY calls for 14.50. Way to go, Mel. Mel does it again. All right, I'd like to see it fall in the after hours. It's not happening yet, Eric. Alpha Dog bought some Meta, June 660 calls. All right, so he thinks Meta's bullish. Let's take a look at Meta. META. Meta, bullish flag up there, like that. It's looking good over the 17. Looking good. Nice 10-minute uptrend today, obviously. Right there. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Didn't last long. You can see it got closed out. All right, so price action is consolidating over prior consolidation. Not by much, but by a little bit. Let's try it again. Okay, so here's some consolidation in the pre-market. And here's the open market, a little bit higher. Here's the prior day's consolidation. So we're consolidating over prior consolidation there. So Meta's looking good. Like the Meta. X getting bought. X is doing well. I stumbled on the X. And what a nice rip today for X. Actually, that was Friday night's rip. And you can see we just going sideways. This happened Friday night. And you can see there's price action moving over to the right. Just a nice bull flag right there. Look for that to break out again. Probably do equal to this distance. We'll see what else we got. Can I look at Meta? I just looked at Meta. Meta's looking good. All right, let's take one more look at Meta with Robert. Okay, you're into resistance up here. See the top of all those wicks? See all these peaks that run into this white line? You're into resistance. Okay? It's that's a lot of touches there. They're not giving up. That's a good sign. Things are looking good for Meta. They're holding that ground up there. Think about it. If they came from down here on the 21st and they're up here and they're holding this, if you look at this with the quad lines on it, let's try it again. All right, with the quad lines on there, you're in the upper third up here. See? Upper third, so that's bullish. Meta's looking good. You're just right underneath resistance. Okay? So you're right. Once they break through, it could be free sailing up above. But on the daily chart, or actually on the 30-minute chart, you can see right here, many touches right up here. All right? I see ascending tails or ascending lows right here. That's looking good. Winding up. Looks like a breakout's going to happen tomorrow morning. We'll see. There's Meta. He wants to look at Akla. Let's try it again. OKLA. Aklo. He corrected it. Aklo looking good. Breakout right here. I think I called this the other day. Yep, that was on my list. I started. for a breakout. All right, there's a grinder box right here and a breakout right there. Let's take a look at, this is 2025. We'll put an anchored VWAP on the high right there. We're up over that 2025 anchored VWAP. Okay, we're 5 months in, and you can see price action is above that. That's bullish. All right, let's take that off. Let's zoom out for some, and let's see what we've got going on here. Okay, now you're up into not just that high, you got a prior high over here. Okay, looking to make new highs. Failed to make a lower low. It is a higher low. It's not a convincing higher low. All right. For me, I think I definitely take some profit up here. Leave a trailer. If I had a position in ACK low, right where all this, see that V, that peak top? Well, obviously selling happened there. So I would sell off a good portion of mine, and then I'd pick it up when I can see price jump on top and hold that higher ground up there over 556. Okay, this is bullish. It's very bullish. Okay, you're in a resistance right now. Okay, prior sales. You're attacking the all-time highs. Okay, and let's put a downtrend line right here. All right, so they broke the downtrend line, and they're up over the 2025 anchored VWAP high. So that's looking good. Expect a little turbulence right through here. See those two wicks? Probably going to get some turbulence right there, right overhead. Both of those, Meta and Oklo, right up there on resistance. All right. Just want to see them hold that higher ground and grind up through it. Just like today on SPY, we have a downtrend. If I can find it. There it is. Okay, so there's our downtrend line. We come into it. Let's take a look at this. This is number 3. Okay, so here's number 3. Got that downtrend line. You can see price action comes up to it, you know, and if you go slow, you can, you know, get over the speed bump with relatively less damage. All right, but if you come slamming at it, like with 2 candles going from 580 clear up to 590, all right, then you're probably going to get a red rubber school ball bounce back in the downside. So you can see there's price action. Nice work today on SPY. Again, you can melt through these 50 SMA, 200 SMA, downtrend lines. All right, if you go slow, you can grind your way right through them. You can see there's SPY hitting it, obeying that line, and then finally melting up through and then consolidating right on top of it. That's bullish for SPY. Okay, I just did Oklo and Meta. Now you want Microsoft, Platinier. Scott made daily goal. Way to go, Scott. Love it. Jay Clark already started buying. How about hood consolidation near the all-time high? Okay, almost there, Jay Clark. Let me get these two, and we'll go visit those. Okay, so Microsoft for Robert. All right, price action. You're up over resistance finally. Nice work. Okay, now you're coming into this peak right here. Okay, this is looking good. This is bullish. That's That's an all-time high. Okay, so you're going to challenge that all-time high. This is looking good. See how price got up here and holding that higher ground. Not giving you that mountaintop peak, all right, but holding that higher ground. Price action, you can see up over the trap, over the 17. Again, price action nicely up there. If we put the quad lines on there, okay, you can see price action from that high to this low. We're up here in quadrant 4. That's very bullish. Price action up over all of this consolidation right through here. Okay, all of that, all this right here. Okay, that's bullish up over that, consolidating on top of prior consolidation. So Microsoft bullish, looking good. You're coming into that prior all-time high. Okay, there'll definitely be some sellers there. And PLTR. PLTR putting in a bull flag. All right. Got up over resistance. It's holding that higher ground. Not a convincing hold, but it's doing well. Okay, so let's just say this line right here is resistance. Okay, because we went up there before, we got rejected. We went up there before, we got rejected. We went up before, and then they pushed us all the way back. They didn't push us through, but they pushed us back. So, got to see Platinier hold this, which it's doing everything good right now. Okay, just I want to see some candles take out some of these red ones. Okay, it's a red candle, does not wiped out any of these red ones here or those two red ones there. Okay, it's looking good. Platinier is bullish. You're up here at the highs. You made a new all-time high about a week and a half ago right there. And you can see you're getting ready. You made another higher low. You're getting ready to challenge that all-time high right there. Possibly even make a higher high. So we'll see what happens. There's Platinier looking good right there. And J. Clark. Yes. Let's take a look at Hood. Hood is, okay, you can see they're struggling again, making a new all-time high. Okay, you can see price action. This is where sellers showed up before. See that? Sellers showed up before. And price action, you can see, is experiencing the same thing, where sellers sold before. Nice move up and hold that higher ground. I like that rising 17. I like that rising 8 EMA. Everything's looking good there on Hood. All right, so that looks like it for me. Thanks, Robert. All right, I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much. Everybody have a beautiful evening. Thank you.